Welcome back, everybody. Today we have Jesse with us. Jesse, where are you calling from?
I'm in North Georgia, man. I'm in the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Uh, okay, Blue Ridge. Yeah, we're pretty familiar with Blue Ridge.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
Tiffany's parents live up there.
oh, really? How about
Yeah.
that? You guys are in Florida, right?
Yep. Yeah, we're in South Florida.
We have a lot
But
of visitors from Florida up here.
you, well, Blue
As
Ridge is
cold as it
just
is this morning, I wish I was visiting you.
it was down in the 40s this morning here.
Really?
Yeah, so which is down. I mean, down here that's cold,
Oh,
but it's
yeah.
beautiful because
The
it just
iguanas are falling out of the trees down there, huh?
yeah, yeah. When you say that to people, they're like, I don't understand. I'm like,
Yeah.
they literally fall out of the trees.
Yeah.
But yeah, it helps take a break from the heat. But,
Oh, yeah. It's
Blue Ridge
brutal. It's brutal summer. I wouldn't trade the summer for it.
it's rough. It's like every year it gets worse and worse. But Blue Ridge is gorgeous. We like going up there.
Yeah.
Very
It's
pretty,
awesome.
very pretty.
Well, that's good to know. I'll be able to, you can buy me
Yeah,
dinner one evening or something then.
absolutely, man, I'm down. How close are you to, the main strip of Blue Ridge?
If it wasn't for the trees right now, I could see it.
Really? Okay, so yeah, same thing. Her mom's not, but 15 yeah, but I would say probably 15, 20 minutes. She
That's
lives
cool.
on one of the mountains right around there. It's gorgeous. We like going up there.
That's
Alright.
interesting. That's cool, man. It's a small
Yeah,
world. That's cool to hear.
it is, it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Neat.
Jesse, tell me what you do for a living.
I'm a journeyman lineman. I build, maintain, work on power lines, take care of a local utility system.
Okay. So I did see on a couple of your videos that you did traveling and building transformers, right?
That's right. I started
Yeah.
traveling
Go
something
ahead.
else that's not typical with blue collar men. I actually graduated college, and when I first got out of college, took out a job on the road working on high voltage power transformers. I worked in
O
substations and power plants. We assembled transformers and done maintenance on transformers.
What'd you go to college for?
That's a whole other story too. So, so my dad was a journeyman lineman. So I
Okay.
was one of the few kids growing up that knew what they wanted to be when they grew up, and and actually was able to do it.
Yeah.
So when I was in high school, I had it set in my mind that I wanted to be a lineman. So I done more of the technical prep, the vocational prep in school. And so I was 16, I guess my junior year, I started something called a youth apprenticeship program. So I'd do my classes in the morning, then I'd go to work. I got a job at uh, the co-op where my dad worked, retired from.
Okay.
And I got a job in there in the storeroom. And that's where I got my basic knowledge and everything. And learned a whole lot, had some good mentors, and they tried to encourage me to go to college to be an engineer. Like, you don't want to be out here working, breaking your back out here in the cold and the heat. You go to college. So I, so I did. I started at junior college and decided, well, I'll do the pre-engineering, and applied to the University of Tennessee and got in. Got there and realized, well, maybe the tech prep in high school didn't set me up to be an engineer. I didn't
Yeah.
fit in. It was killing me. So I ended up graduating with a degree in geography. I done a lot of cartography, mapping, GPS, GIS. I thought it'd be something that I could apply to, a trade.
Yeah.
Uh, so I graduated college and needed a job and knew I wanted to do something in power. I turned down jobs from Garmin and stuff like that, but that wasn't what I wanted to do. So got a job on the road. I had a friend that hooked me up with that. So many things. Like when I was in high school, I got my CDL. I was raring and ready to go to work. I had my CDL
Yeah.
when I was 18, and that got me on. And I seen. I want to think 37 states doing that for about 3.5 years.
Okay.
It's
That's
real interesting.
wild. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome though, because that's a lot of traveling. That's a lot of places to see. That's
Well, that was the fun part. The
yeah.
not so fun part was I couldn't really have a life because
Yeah.
in that business they'd call you up and expect you to be somewhere tomorrow or tonight. I'd be at home and they'd say, we need you in Utah tomorrow. Get your flights in line. Or or I'd be out and I'd be working in Texas for 6 weeks, and I'm ready to go home, and they'd have a transformer fail at a nuclear plant, and we need you to go there instead of home. It'd be that was the biggest reason I was ready to get back home from that, you know. But
Yeah, I don't.
the work was quite an experience.
Yeah, being away from home that long, it does. It takes a toll on you. It's rough.
It is living out of a suitcase, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and it's not necessary. You're not around as many family type people either. You know, a lot of them guys on the road that's older, that's just a life they live, and that's where their
Yep.
home is. You know.
Now I did see that on that same video of you talking about traveling. You were working on one of the pictures in the slide, a wind turbine. Did you work on a lot of those?
I didn't work on the turbines. I just had my picture made. But yeah, I worked on several wind farms.
Mhm.
We done. That's where. See, at the time they were pushing the green energy, the
Yep.
wind turbines, and there was so many transformers needed assembled on those wind farms. I worked on wind farms in Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma, California, several of those. Yeah, but no, I just took my picture with the turbine. I've never climbed one or anything. You know.
Those are cool. Yeah, which is nuts because I guess I've never realized how big those are until so I actually before I did mining, I did ski lifts and sky rides. I built those.
That's
So I got to
interesting.
travel, I got to travel all the way Midwest, all around that area and stuff. So the first time I ever went to Iowa, it was like the perfect timing. They were working on windmills around there, and sure enough, I'm driving down the highway, and here comes a truck with one of the blades on it, and I was like, "Oh my
Yeah,
god, bro, it's
yeah,
huge!" And I
yeah.
couldn't believe like the size of it and the whole ordeal just to get it down the road. And that was
Yeah,
just one blade. I was
that's right.
amazed.
Yeah, it's amazing watching them put them together because them blades, they've got to be 100 foot long. You
It,
know.
yeah, they're huge.
Yeah.
I couldn't
I-
believe it because I mean, it was nuts watching it go down the road.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. And the places they get them because most of those wind farms is rural, small tight roads.
Yeah.
They get them in
Those
there though.
those truckers, yeah, they are experienced. I mean,
Yeah.
watching them move, you can't just turn with a regular trailer. That thing is like you said, probably 100 foot or more behind
Oh
you.
yeah. You can't just swing wide, right?
No, no, there's no slinging wide. You got to go all the way around.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I say I got to see some cool stuff like that. I got to work in every different power plant you can imagine: nuclear, coal, oil, natural gas, of course, wind farms, solar,
That's
hydro
awesome.
dams. Yeah, it's neat to see all that.
The
It's a
hydro
really killer
dam,
experience.
that's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah, we got to work on some under some dams, but
That's pretty dope. That's
yeah, it's neat.
so for your training to become a journeyman and all that. I've had a couple linemen on here, and the training. I've seen videos of you guys going up and down the poles, like where they have them set at the training facility.
Circles.
Yep, and they go
That's
up
right.
and down real fast. So how long do you have to do that? Like, what does your training consist of?
So I went through an apprenticeship with the union.
Okay.
It's the way it works is it's so many hours classroom, so many hours on the job. Mine was 7,000 hours on the job, and then it breaks down. You have to have like 500 hours transmission, 500 underground. It used to be 2,500 hours of hot time, energized work, and then so many hours of classroom. And the school the, the classes that you're talking about, where they have the pole circles and all that out there, there's other line schools that do that, but the one I went through at the apprenticeship, that was an 11-day thing.
Oh wow.
They climbed your tail end off for 10 days.
I was gonna say, I bet you're beat at the end of that, going up and
Well,
down and up and down.
yeah, they do that. I don't want to call it a weeder necessarily, but they got to see what you're made of to make sure you're going to get
Yeah.
through it. So
Absolutely, yeah, you gotta see if you're cut out for it or not.
that's right. So
Yeah,
that's what you're seeing there.
which I'm gonna jump right onto this, is that cut out for it or not, that I did see that in one of your videos, which I absolutely loved it, is that it's explaining to find a job that you love, that you're passionate about, that you take
Yeah,
pride in.
that's
You
right.
know, and that is I say that all the time for this younger generation because the younger generation sees that blue collar now is where the money is at.
Hmm.
And you got all these younger kids that they see that and hey, I can have that big lifted diesel and I can have a nice house. You can, but don't just chase the money. Chase what you love to do. Because if you
That's
chase the
right.
money, you'll never take pride in the job. You'll end up hating the job. You'll quit. And then your resume in the end don't look good.
I agree. That's something that I want to encourage young people that are interested in trades when they're trying to figure out what they want to do. You need to understand that when you go with a trade, you're committed to it.
Yep.
So if you get deep into it and you don't like it, first of all, you're not going to do a good job. But secondly, like you said, you might start cutting corners and not be safe, and you're not going to give it your all. So try to find something that you're good at, something you're interested in.
Yep. No, I 100% agree on that. That's why I seen that
Because
video. I was like,
yeah,
yes,
yeah. I
yes,
I
someone
seen a
else is
video.
doing it.
I seen the video. I think it was this morning. Somebody posted on there about can't see it from my house, and it was a pretty good video. He was bashing people that say that, and I had to comment. I said that I hate that saying worse than any other saying in any trade. Take pride in what you're doing. You know.
Yeah, it's if you take pride in your job and you love the job, it just makes it more enjoyable every day to go work. And
Oh
then
yeah,
you're enjoyable to be around at work. Your
that's right.
coworkers will, enjoy it just makes everything better.
Yeah, there's nothing
It's
worse than
easier to
being
do
around
your
somebody
job.
that doesn't want to be there.
Exactly, because then
Yeah,
you're like, "All right, well," all it does is irritate the other coworker, and then, like you said, cutting corners, especially being a lineman, you
no,
just like that, you don't know what's gonna happen. You gotta
yeah.
be careful. You'll be on your toes
There's
24/7.
I heard the saying before. There's no eraser on the lineman's pencil.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
It's crazy, man. You guys are a different breed, I'll tell you that. There ain't no way I'd be up there touching I seen a video, and I wanna ask you about this. What is the purpose? Because I did see the video. I don't think it was on your page, but I seen a video, and they said it was training. It was a training video, and they had their gloves on, but they didn't have the, like, the hot gloves. They just had regular gloves on, and they were touching, and the static electricity would come off the line, to their hand, and then they were doing that. What's the purpose of that?
okay, so what you were looking at was high voltage transmission. You
Okay.
can only glove voltages so high because you can't. I think 46 kV is the highest voltage you can glove because they don't make gloves insulated any higher. So what you were looking at was bare hand work.
Yes.
Those guys were either sitting on the platform of a helicopter or or in a bucket truck designed to do bare hand. They were a bird on the wire. They bomb themselves on and they wear what they call a Faraday suit, which which makes you part of the conductor. So in
Okay.
distribution work, or where you see guys doing the gloving, they cover up every potential and work on the phase they're working on, and they insulate themselves from it. With bare hand work, they become that phase, and they have to keep themselves from becoming a circuit, a path to ground or another phase. It's the same principle, but you can't glove it because you can't get enough insulation. You're looking at probably 500 kV or something.
Jesus. See, I became the circuit.
You did,
Yeah.
yes, sir. You are the Lord's using you to reach people to teach it.
Yeah, which
I
it's
mean,
it's crazy because I can't teach electricity or anything like that because I know nothing about, any of that. I don't know the terms. I have people which you have all the linemen, engineers, all them guys that know all that stuff. They argue on my TikTok about, the voltage doesn't kill you, which I've heard that. The voltage doesn't want to kill you, it's the amperage. And
that's
then they
well.
get into it, and then you'll have people fighting. So what is your — you hit me with it. All about that.
All right. So in our industry, what happened to you? So you had an entrance and an exit, right?
Yes.
With electricity. We would
Yeah.
call that a
In here,
contact.
back in the neck.
Yeah. So that's considered in our industry a contact. We try to avoid that. Like we're working with our gloves or whatever, we're on the wire, but a contact is when you become a circuit. And, me and you shouldn't be talking right now because of
Yeah.
that.
No.
Um, but something I want to really stress to the lineman that's going to watch this,
Yeah.
people need to respect all the voltages. So 4160, we refer to as 4 kV in our industry, is one of the lowest distribution voltages, right? The system that I
Okay.
work on every day is 12 kV and 25 kV. You get up sub transmissions 46, 69, and then up all the way up, like I said, to 500, 765.
Yeah.
So what I want to stress is don't take the voltage for granted because it's a lower voltage. 4160 compared to say 12 kV could be carrying more amps because of the laws of electricity. You lower your voltage, your amps climb, so it could be more dangerous. It takes a fraction of an amp to stop your heart, but
Yes. So they told me that I took 20 amps, is what they said. They said it was 4160, which I knew that, but then they said it was 20 amps is what I took. Now I've had guys argue with me.
20.
They say that there's no way you took 20 amps, you'd be dead. What I did die. I died 2 times. They had to bring me back to life, but I'm just saying what the doctors told me. Once again, I am not an electrician. I know nothing about all that, but
So
from what
I'd
I
be
was
willing
told
to
from
bet. I would say that circuit that you got into was probably carrying 20 amps of load. Did you see my video with that squirrel?
yes, I did.
So,
Yes.
so wildlife and trees is the biggest enemy to an electric system, right? When it bridges the gap between the current carrying conductor and ground or another phase, that conductor starts it creates a fault, and in return you get fault current, which is also measured in amps. There's no telling
Okay.
how many amps was on there going through you because you created a path and created fault current. I mean, it could have been hundreds, thousands of amps. So our
Crazy.
protection devices are set up on these electric systems to trip at a certain number of amps. Like the minimum trip on this three phase right here behind me is set up at 600 amps. But now the circuits are probably only carrying a couple hundred normally. But if a tree gets on it and it climbs up to the where it needs to open up, it will. So I don't know if that makes any sense. I try to explain it.
Yeah.
So you
It's
you you that tracking through your body, there's no telling how many amps you were actually putting back on that circuit before it either locked out or blew you off of it or whatever.
Yeah, it ended up uh tripping is what I
Right?
was told.
Yeah, it was more than 20 amps then.
That's crazy.
And I
That's good.
try to stress this to guys. See, we consider, a primary voltage and a secondary voltage. The secondary voltage is what the transformer steps it down to. Like your house is 240 volts, right? A
Yeah.
lot of industrial businesses are 480,
Yes.
and you're working in a lot tighter space. Those voltages are just as deadly if you and the fires are bigger because the available amperage is higher because the voltage is lower.
Yeah,
It's
that's
it's
that's like I've had so many comments on all my social media, and you got people who are like, "Well, I've touched 110, and how didn't the 110 is extremely deadly because it holds you.
Yeah,
It doesn't it contracts your muscles, and you can't get off of it.
that's right.
People don't think that.
480 will blow you off of it.
Yeah, which they
I've
don't
never
think that,
I've never
110 is
seen
what's that?
I've never seen an accident like that firsthand, but you see all of the case studies and whatever, and that's what you
Yeah.
see. Like you say, if you've ever accidentally bumped 110 working your house, it'll hurt. It'll cramp you up. It'll hurt you.
Yeah, it definitely does. It makes you
No,
not wanna touch it again, tell you that.
that's right. That's like an electric fence or something. it has thousands of volts, but it has no current, no amperage.
Okay, see, I like how you just jumped on that because that one right there, that was one of a huge argument on one of my videos. Somebody said, "Well, I can touch a an electric fence that had like 5,000 volts, it says. Why don't I get hurt?" And then you
Mhm.
got which I have no idea. I can't answer that question for these people. So I'm just like, I don't know.
The
But it's so
worst
it's
I
because
ever
it doesn't have
probably took a
current.
hit.
What's that?
I'm sorry, we had a glitch there, and I talked over you. I thought you were done. I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead. What were you gonna say?
The worst hit that I ever took, we were testing a transformer, and we were using AC voltage. There's so many different tests. There's DC voltage and AC voltage, and this particular test used 5,000 volts of AC. And these bushings on these transformers are like 6 feet tall, so I had to reach up head high and clamp a test lead on. And when I come back down and got in the clear for the test, I was standing clear. You have to hold a button and everything's all good. A gust of wind came along and blew that lead off and hit me on the shoulder and locked my jaws. Like I hurt for days. And
Jesus.
but we were actually putting current through the transformer. But the test stopped. But that quick little brush, you know, it like I said, there's no actual current or fault current to hurt. I mean, I guess it could have hurt me, but it just, I felt it, knew it was there.
Crazy. So I know I'm kind of jumping back now because of your why we talked about your training and safety training, like that stuff. Are you guys so one of the most iconic pictures I think for linemen is the lineman's kiss.
Kiss of life.
Are you guys trained to do that? Like, is there a procedure if that actually happens, like what
Oh,
to
yeah.
do in that position? Yeah?
There's a whole procedure that we have to stay current. Annually, we have to perform pole top rescue and bucket truck rescue, where we stay certified in first aid and CPR. Yeah, there's a whole procedure to self rescue, even if equipment fails. Yeah, so if something happens, there's a whole procedure for that. We can get our buddy down, start first aid. We know how to, you know, call call for help with Mayday for depending on where you're at. You may be out of cell phone range, so we got dispatchers that monitor that, and
That's
and
good.
uh, and of course, I know you've seen some of my videos. I really enjoy doing the lineman rodeo, and that's something. The Hurt Man Rescue is a competition at every one of them. So, and it always will be for that reason. That's probably one of the most important skills you need to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering if you guys were trained into, up on the poles if something happens, is there
Wait,
procedures?
they used to train. It changes a little along the long. I remember when I first started, they used to train you to do breaths and maybe some start CPR on the pole. Now they want you just to get him down as quick as you can and, well, as safe as you can, and then do the
Yeah,
CPR on the ground.
well, I know that when I was doing it, because we had to be trained in was IED? I
The AED,
AED,
defibrillator.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, we
Yeah,
carry
that.
those on our trucks.
So we had to be trained in that and CPR, and I know they changed CPR instead of giving breath, they just wanted to do chest compressions, and then it used to
Yeah, I
be
think it's
to
optional.
yeah, and then it was like, the song, "Staying Light" or "Staying Alive," but then they don't want you to do that
Yeah,
anymore, it's just continue pressing, so, yeah.
that's right. Yeah, it's something that everybody. I mean,
I think
even though if
everybody
you're
should
not in
know.
trade, yeah, if even if you're not in trades, and those AEDs are awesome because you can't screw up.
No,
If the pads are not placed right, it'll tell you to move them.
I was gonna say the one we had, it it's just like using your phone, it literally speaks to you. The one we had, it would tell
It
you like,
does.
"Alright, place it here, place it there," so if you didn't, I mean, you'd have to be really, really dumb.
That's
It
right.
literally tells you everything to do, and I mean, there's instructions with it. But yeah, we were trained, and when we did that training, I was like, "Wow, this is pretty simple." And they were like, "Yeah, you really can't mess this up." They made it pretty much dummy proof, which is great
Yeah,
because
yeah,
at that
it's pretty
time, you
amazing.
don't wanna freeze up.
Mm-mm.
I think
No,
everybody should be trained in that.
I agree. I definitely agree with
Yeah.
that because it's you never know. You could be shopping and somebody,
Yeah.
someone fall out right beside you in there. You don't even know them. Which I think that's one of the reasons they took the breaths out. Because I remember that I think they made it optional because they don't want you to feel like you have to do that if you don't feel comfortable, with that. But
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm a different kind of person that somebody's life's on the line. I don't care.
I'm gonna do it,
Try to help. Yep. Trying to help that person as much as I can.
whatever it takes.
Yep. So I do want to ask you how you did this because I was amazed by it, and I have never seen a gender reveal from a lineman, and I thought that that was absolutely amazing. Like
Yeah.
I need to know how you did it.
All right. So that took a little. I worked on that for a while to make that work.
Well, my wife, I showed her, I was like, "Oh, you have to see this." So she seen it and she was like, that's not like their pole on the backyard." I was like, "No, he put that there.
Yeah.
It's really short."
So I built a little pole in the backyard and borrowed a transformer and the material, of course, and obviously we didn't blow up the transformer or anything. I tried for a while to try to blow a fuse. It's always a running joke with linemen. They heard a transformer blow. That's a fuse that blows, right? And when I closed that fuse in, I wanted it to explode the color of the powder. So I had it set up where one of my friends was on the. He got the letter from the doctor for what it is. It's top secret. He was going to load that, the color. I never could make that fuse be as good of an explosion as I wanted. So I made it almost like a tater cannon
Oh,
and put it behind that transformer where they could load it from the top.
yeah.
And I borrowed a battery, a 24-volt battery, and bought a sprinkler valve and put it in there and wired it up through that switch, the cutout there. And when I closed it in, it completed the circuit and opened that valve that was holding back the pressure and it blew that powder out of there. So it looked like when I closed the barrel in, it blew the transformer up.
Yeah, it does.
But
It looks just like it.
I've seen several videos of people where they blow the fuse and they put a little gunpowder in there and it'll blow like the color out of the bottom. I wanted a little bigger. If you
Yeah,
know
no,
me, I
I
like to
think
go all out.
I think yours was awesome. Like when I
Yeah,
watched that, I watched it probably about 10 times because it's just
yeah,
something
that was cool.
people are getting more creative with their gender reveals, and then that one I was like, "This is awesome because you're a lineman, it's your trade,
Yeah,
and then you did it with that." It was super cool.
oh yeah,
Definitely everybody that's watching, you have to check out his TikTok and find that video and watch it
yeah.
because
Check it
it
out.
is awesome.
Yeah, like I told you. When you get committed to a trade, it almost becomes a lifestyle. So everything in my life, you
It's
know,
true.
it
I
is.
mean, you think about it, the trades that you get into, it becomes life because how many hours do you work a week? How many
This week,
days do you work? Yeah,
this week I could count more hours that I've slept than I've worked. If that makes any sense. I've been on standby this week, so that's all hours of the night. If I need to get called in. And then last night we had a scheduled outage. Back here today at it on my lunch break now.
it's awesome. Oh, let's see. I did see, and I actually called them out too for a different reason, but I watched yours, you calling Milwaukee out for your deer camera.
Oh yeah. I
Once you did
never
that, I
got
was
no
like,
feed. I never got nothing back from
"Uh,
that.
I ain't heard nothing from him either." But you make a great point. I haven't seen a camera like
Yeah,
that, and I was like, "Man, he's onto
everybody in
something."
trades anymore has got all kinds of batteries.
Yeah. I was like, "He's really onto something. Come on, Milwaukee, tighten up."
Yeah, they make everything else.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
just have
they
to
have
make them
a
black or camouflage.
yeah, yeah, not red. Yeah, they make they're
Yeah.
coming out next year with a new bump cap for your head to go into your hat insert, and I'm trying to get one, but I tagged them because I seen their, um, like, their prototype for it, and it was pretty impressive. So I have
Oh
a
yeah.
piece that goes in my hat right now, it's a bump
Mhm.
cap, it just inserts into your any snapback, and it protects the hole in my head because right there is a hole in my skull.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch close, I can
Yeah.
move it.
About that. Yeah. Didn't you say that they took muscle from your back to
So they did.
fix the hole?
Yeah, the for anybody that's watching, electricity when it hits you, it burns from the inside out. So I had third and fourth degree burns. I mean, it comes all the way down, burned
Yeah.
off that too.
It continues to burn.
Yeah. So it actually burned, which if you look that and you can see a scar run down my head, this is my original skin. That's it. Everything else is scar. And it burned the tissue pretty much off my head where they just debrided it and it was my skull. So when I woke up out of the hospital, they already started doing burr holes in my head and they just drill little tiny holes in your skull and it was to see if the skull would grow new tissue, which is crazy, but it started to. And then they were like, listen, you have two options. One is to let it keep growing and you'll probably be in the hospital for about a year. And I was like, all right, what's the other option? Because I'm not doing that. And they said, we can take your lat muscle out of your back and stick it on your head. And I was like, let's do that. So we did. And that surgery was probably the most painful surgery to come out of. They told me my back would hurt, my head won't hurt because all the nerve endings are burned out. So they're like, your head shouldn't hurt at all. That was a lie. I come out and man, it felt like someone had my head in a vice and just beating
Yeah.
it and beating it. And then to make it matters even worse, the room I was in, there was probably another 15 people in it. I was the only person that was fully conscious and awake. Everybody else was either in a coma or put out. And the lights were on 24/7. There was no windows, no clocks. And then you're on all this pain meds. So you literally felt like you were losing your mind between the pain, not knowing what time it is,
You're a tough
anything. So I
son
was
of a
like,
gun, man.
it was crazy. But trying to think, I don't think I have any videos because TikTok is, they don't like graphic stuff. But on my Instagram, I do. I've actually, you can see my skull on my Instagram. But
Really.
when they put the muscle on, it was,
Mm.
I shit you not, it was like this big. And right when I got to see myself the first time in the mirror, I was like, "What is this? This isn't what I wanted." They
Yeah.
were like, "Calm down." I was like, "I look like an alien." I was so mad.
Yeah.
They're like, "It'll go down." And sure enough, it did. It came down and they put skin grafts on top of it, and now that's what it is.
Did they use your own
What?
skin for the grafts or?
Yeah, so they took skin grafts off both thighs and my lower back, which I don't know if you've ever seen skin grafts taken off of somebody, but it's wild. They can cut like the thinnest piece of skin
Yeah.
off of you, and your once it's gone, the hair is still there though. Like it doesn't cut the hair.
Really.
I couldn't understand it, and they were like, "This is how it works." I'm like, "It's crazy." But yeah, they did
I
all
always
skin grafts.
wondered if they took it from a hairy part of your body if you start growing that kind of hair where they moved it to,
I mean, the ones they took off of me, it it left the hair on my legs. I was like, "This is crazy." But yeah, skin grafts, they hurt.
I
The
can
site they
imagine.
take it from, it's like bad road rash. So,
Yeah, I can see that. I bet. I mean,
yeah.
really, they're peeling the skin off. It's exposing all that
Yeah.
to the air, and
Uh, all of this, that wasn't that bad. I mean, the ear, I had them cut that off in the hospital. They tried
so
to save it.
I guess you can't hear from on that side.
No, I can.
Really?
Yeah, so the hole's still there.
Yeah,
So my eardrum and the ear canal was not damaged at all, so I can hear just fine out of this side, which I get that question all the time. And
yeah,
out in public, people try to talk to me like on my left side. I'm like, I can hear you. They're
right.
like, oh,
Yeah, I
like
wouldn't have
I can
thought.
hear you.
I would.
Yeah, no, I get it all the time. People say, "Can you hear out of that?" Like, yeah.
Yeah,
No, they tried to save. So this one, if you look, they cut the top of this one off, and they were able to save this ear. They tried to do it on this one, and by the third time they cut pieces off, the pain was so excruciating in your ears that I told them, I was like, "Just cut the ear off. I don't need it. It's so burned." I was like, "We're not gonna save it. Just cut it off. Be done with it."
were
They
you
did.
like you? Obviously, there was a big flash involved. I know you don't remember it, but how about your vision and everything? Was you able? Your vision still good, or
So my vision is 20/20, but I did get brain damage. So my short-term memory is bad. I had mood swings really, really bad. They're a little better now. But the part of my brain that tells you like the sensitivity to light, like sunlight, I guess got affected because the doctor told me that's what's wrong is that your eyes now don't, I guess they don't gauge the sensitivity. So outside, if I'm not wearing shades and it's really bright, I can't see nothing. It's like
really?
it's just white. It's so bright. So I
Yeah,
always wear sunglasses.
yeah. Man,
Yep.
that's isn't it amazing what the doctors can do, though. Really,
Yeah, it's crazy what the human body can take and what doctors can do. It's
yeah,
phenomenal.
really is.
Yeah. But
I
now I'm
can't.
doing public speaking, so I'm trying to get out there and share my stories with every blue collar man and woman that I can because I don't want to see this ever to happen to anybody else. You know, it's terrible.
You know, it's like I said. I think the Lord's using you to do that.
Yeah. That's what Tiff said. She said the same thing. I think this was your calling, and so I did do a public speaking in Arizona for 6,000 employees, and it was amazing. Like to see people react to your story, and like you can see them, it touches them. It was good. So that's
Yeah,
definitely something that I wanna pursue and do as much as
yeah.
possible to get that
It makes you
message
feel
out
good.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Jesse, is there anything that you wanna talk about to the audience? Any advice for the younger generation?
You know, I was thinking you'd probably ask that question. Uh, we've kind of already talked about one of the points I was wanting to get across. You know, if you're interested in the trade, you know, try to get your feet wet in it. Don't chase it. Don't go at it just to chase the money. You know,
That's right.
you can make a good living doing it. Don't get into something that you're not comfortable or competent in just for the money. Like I said, because that's not safe. It's not going to work out. Uh, there's plenty of options. There's plenty of other trades out there. You know, everybody always asks me. That's one of the questions I always get. Boy, I hear you guys just make lots of money. Well, it's like anything else. It depends on how much you want to work. You know, if
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, you can if you don't want to have a life at home. If you want to travel and chase storms or you know whatever, you can work all you want to. So you got to find a balance there. Um, that's one of the bigger things I wanted to get out there. Just stay safe and have a good attitude.
Yep.
You know, come in with a good attitude and don't feel like you can ever stop learning. You know, that's one of the biggest things I was wanting to do with my TikTok page. You know, I started out just memes and silly little videos, and I kind of wanted to see if I could get a following started. And then I videoed myself one day, and I realized what a idiot I actually am, and everybody else thought so too, and started watching it. And so I kind of freaked out and took those down, and thought, well, I know what I want to do. I've had it in my heart for a while to teach. I feel like the more educated you are in something, the safer you are. The more you understand
Absolutely.
it, the better you're going to be at it. So I'm going to try to use this as an avenue for that. If you look at some of my later videos, I'm doing some things that to shed light on some issues that I've had experience with. Everything I want to teach from firsthand experience. You know, some accidents avoided and different things. And yeah, don't never stop learning. I don't feel like I've accomplished anything in a day if I don't at least see something new or learn the smallest little thing. You know, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't act like you know it all. So many guys top out when they're young and they're a lineman and they get cocky about it. You can learn from anybody. You know, even
No, I like that. That's a really, really good point that don't ever think you can't learn more, that
yeah,
you
you
stop
always can
learning.
learn.
It's yeah.
I
I just
learned.
had a guest on, we talked about almost the same thing with talking about a lot of the old timers, and it's getting to the point where a lot of them old timers are retiring.
Yeah,
They're
I,
done.
I'll tell you something about them old timers.
They know everything.
Well, that you kind of have it both ways there. They know a lot because they've been through a lot. The really old generation back when I started was almost afraid to teach too much because they didn't want you to end up knowing more than they did.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
a lot of people were held back from that. I'm talking about older generation guys, and then there's always been the ones that enjoy teaching, and and then, but yeah, they do know a lot, so sometimes you have to pick them to get it, but none of them's ever going to watch you get in a bind to get hurt, though.
No, yeah, no. They're gonna tell you really quick. But, they are. That's getting to that point where a lot of them older guys, you're gonna see them starting to retire and go away, and you're gonna
Yeah,
lose that chance to really learn a lot of knowledge from them guys because they do. They have it all. They've been in the business so long. They know the tricks, the ins and outs. So if you guys are watching
they
this and
seen
you're
it before.
younger,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. They've seen everything. So
before the fancy
always
tools and equipment. They know those are the guys you need to try to buddy up with and learn the tricks from for sure. Yeah, you're exactly right. And don't be
exactly learn
afraid of
everything you can.
criticism. Because they're going to give you a hard time.
Yes, we've talked about that one too.
Don't get butt hurt.
That's right. Leave your
You
feelings at the gate. That's what
Yeah,
that's what our saying was.
you
Leave
don't
feelings
have
at the gate.
feelings anymore.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and really, a lot of times, the harder we are on you, we
The
think
more
you're
you
going to
learn.
make something. So we're actually trying to get that in you. Yeah, it's
No,
definitely.
I think it's a great way of teaching. That's how I learned was uh, an old timer, and he didn't take no shit. I mean, if you screwed up, he let you know real quick.
Yeah,
And by the time he was done cussing you up and down, you already had it in your head that I'm not doing that again.
not doing it again, are you?
And you learned once, and that was it. You didn't have to be told 10 times. No,
How
that was
many
one
things
time.
is there in any tradesman that you do, and you could tell that same story, and someone asks you, "Why do you do it that way?" Well, because I got my butt
Exactly.
completely raked out one time for doing it the other way, so this is how we're going to do it.
Exactly.
Etched in your
Yep.
mind forever.
Yep. Well, Jesse, it was awesome having you on here.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate you coming on, man. And since you're in Blue Ridge, we're definitely gonna have to get in touch.
Yep, for
Get dinner
sure,
or something.
for sure. Let's do it.
All right, brother. You
Yeah,
take
man.
it
Y'all
easy. You be safe today. And
always,
yeah, we'll keep in touch. Always be safe. That's right.
always, and just I I, I want to thank you for letting me on and for the invite. This is awesome, and
Absolutely.
you're a tough son of a gun, man. Keep doing what you're doing. I mean,
Trying.
you're
Trying.
you're an example to so many. I hate that it had to be that way for you, but
No, it is what it is. It's
it's
life.
going it really enlightens some people.
Yeah, I've liked to tell my kids that, there's something I think that's life is not fair. It's not. I think a lot of people need to understand that
Oh yeah,
life isn't fair. And ain't nothing for free in this world. You have to work for what you want.
you're gonna wait for it to be
Uh-oh.
fair. You're just gonna watch it go by.
That's right. Yeah, if you think it's gonna be fair to you, you're just gonna sit there and wait on it because it ain't. Yeah.
Got to work.
That's right. Definitely gotta work for what you want. All right, Jesse. It was
Well,
great
man, I
having you
truly
on.
appreciate that. No.
Absolutely, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, you take it easy.
All right, I'll be talking to you.
Absolutely,
All
yes.
right.
All
All
right,
right.
bye.
See